There are tons of CRMs out there, like seriously, tons. But honestly, it doesn't really matter which one you're using. They all start from the same place, a prospecting file, the holy grail. Except sometimes that file is a bit of a mess. Missing data, no way to properly segment your leads. That's where something called data enrichment comes in. In other words, pulling info from elsewhere to boost what you already have. And when you look at how much gold is packed into a single Google Maps page, you start thinking this might be one of the best sources out there. Hi, I'm François, and today we are diving into how to enrich your CRM using data from Google Maps. Let's start with the basics. When using Google Maps makes sense and when it doesn't. You probably already know this, Google Maps is a gold mine for leads, but not all business categories are created equal. There are over 4,000 different categories listed on the platform, so yeah, no need to go through all of them here. Just keep this in mind. If your CRM mostly includes small and medium-sized businesses, you are on the right track. Now for the tutorial, you will need three things. Free like this. Your CRM. I will be using Pipedrive, but honestly it doesn't matter much. A trigger or an automation tool, let's say make.com, and a Google Maps scraper, scrap.io for example. By the way, if you use the link in the description, you will get your first 100 leads for free, API access included. Let's jump into the tutorial. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we have three opened tabs. The first one with Pipedrive or your CRM, the second one is Make, and the final one is Scrap.io. So to explain a bit further what our project will be, first we need to retrieve or create API keys from both platforms, Pipedrive and Scrap.io, and we'll combine them together on Make. So we'll create a new scenario in order to end up with a working automation. Okay, for the API on Pipedrive, it's hidden somewhere here. Sorry, it's in French, but you click on your profile and you have access to an API tab. Or that to say that we can pick the one by default. For Scrap.io, however, we have to create it. So we jump into the security tab, API keys, we create a new key and we click on create. And voila, make sure to store it somewhere because if you click on close, you can't have access to it anymore. A quick word regarding the Scrap.io's model on Make. At the time I'm recording this video, Scrap.io is in beta test, regarding Make of course, so you might need to click the link in the description first and to kind of install the model before making use of it. So Scrap.io, we have up to 4 actions, let's say 5 if we take the make an API call into account. Obviously, if we want to enrich the data, because that's what we expect to do, so we are going to use the enrich API. But first thing first, let's retrieve a specific lead on our CRM. What I want to do is to target the organizations. For now, I have access to 10 leads. Let's pick up the first one. As you can see, I have access to the name and to the website. That's it. But I can also get more data if I want to. I have created 3 custom fields: full address, review count, and phone. These were not randomly created. I know that this data is available on Google Maps. So let's search for organizations and maybe we can get an organization. So we return details of an organization. We create a connection and we input the organization ID. The organization ID is that part. It's available within the URL, up 34. And if I run this model only, boom, 1 input, 1 output, and within the bundle, here is a name, here is a website. So once I've got my organization, I'm going to use the Scrap.io's model. I enrich the data. I create another connection because I have access to another API key. So to enrich a lead, you will be based on one of these 4 inputs: the URL, the domain name, the email, or the phone number, or the URL, or the domain name, or the phone number, or the email, because all 4 at once, it's not gonna work, right? So we have access to, I've said the website, but it's more the domain name really. See recoveryagents.net, there it is. And now if I run once, it's a success. address. Based on that domain name, I end up with quite a lot of data. To keep it simple, with Scrub.io you have access to all the data available on the Google Maps page, but also if that Google Maps page has got a website, we are going to use a crawler in order to gather additional pieces of information like metadata, SEO characteristics, email addresses, social media links. I might have forgotten one or two things, but you've got the whole idea. To wrap things up, we are going to update the organization. Update an organization field value. The organization ID, it's going to be the same one, and I can add some items. When I have first tried it out, it was pretty confusing to understand what the field identifier was. It's an ID. So for example, if I want to get the full address, what I have to do is to click on my profile, to scroll down a little bit, to go to Champ de Données, which can be translated to, I don't know, I'm just going to show you on the screen, organizations, and within the personalized fields, here is our full address. Up, I click on copy the API key, and as a value, this will be the full address. Same thing for the reviews count and the phone number. And that's it. Let's run it once. Let's see if it has been updated successfully. Now I have access to my data. Okay, so far what we have seen was useful, but let's be honest, we are not going to proceed this way if we have to do it in real life. We're not going to update organization values one by one. What's more likely is that we will insert our prospecting file and we expect it to update the value for each and every one of our organizations. So let's proceed this way. First, I import a file containing 3 data rows. Let's keep things simple. I double check that the data is correct. So I click on next. Here is my overview. I click on next. What do I do if I end up with duplicates? I just merge the data fields. We end up with our 3 organizations. We will no longer get an organization. More likely we are going to watch for an organization. That's different. So let's delete that model. We watch organizations. It triggers when a new organization is added or updated. That's what we want. The filter, if you want to, for example, organizations which hasn't been contacted over the last month, the user. Okay, the limits, well, I have 3 organizations, and it triggers when an object is created or an object is updated, one of them. And if I click on save, Make is going to ask me, okay, but choose where to start. From now on, since a specific date, since today at 8 o'clock. And I click on save. Okay, so let's run this model only. It's a success and I have 3 bundles as expected. Good. So now let's come back to Scrub.io. See if the variable is black like this. It means there is something wrong. It means that the data hasn't been updated. Here it is, website 5. I save. We will have to do the same thing for the organization ID. Maybe what we can add is a filter here. Let me explain. I set up a filter and we say if at least one data, if the total number of bundles is not equal to 0, then we move on. Let's run it once. And now it won't work. Why? Because the organizations are no longer new. This is why I've prepared a second CSV file. Let's do that really quick. So now I set up the limit to 10. And if I run it once, we just need to wait for a little bit. You can see that the data has been added correctly. And that's it. Now it's your turn. You can create your own scenario and imagine something different that works for you. This is the end of the video. If you have enjoyed it, you can subscribe. There is nothing else to see. Bye.